do the D Festival talks, and this is designed by and run by children, part of student council, and these are 15 children from 15 countries who are running the festival, the entire festival, and it comprises of a talk. There are workshops happening that they are running themselves, and then there is design challenges that they are driving. So talk is one of the pillars, and so I welcome you all to this talk. And the students have chosen the topic of my happiness, my choice. Yeah, and this is by Design for Change. And as you know, Design for Change is a global movement where we cultivate the I can mindset amongst children. We believe in what the child thinks and has to say, and bringing that children's agency for greater good. And now Design for Change is running in 70 countries. So,
wow.
So yeah, and I have this, and the talk is basically, these are conversation between these superheroes, we call them superheroes, and experts, and really conversation amongst themselves on an interesting topic. So let me just introduce my expert panel, and we are very fortunate to have Karen Tan with us, and she's well known, I'm sure, not only in Singapore, in other countries, and she has practically worked with every theater company in Singapore, and she's lived in UK, Vienna, in Malaysia, Cairo, and New Zealand. So I also come from New Zealand.
Yeah? Okay, I didn't live in New Zealand, to be fair. I spent some time working there.
So, yeah. And you find Singapore to be the happiest place for you, right? And you're a working mom. You have two lovely daughters. And you've been nominated as the best actress many, many times. That itself is great. So you bring your own expertise into the topic. And then we have, let me introduce Napoleon from Singapore. He's part of, so both the students are part of the student council. So Napoleon is from Singapore, from Human Primary. He's in primary 6th, will be giving his PSLE this year. And Napoleon, I've seen him flourish in last few years. So we've been working with the school and Napoleon. And one thing I would like to mention, because he's humble, he may not mention it. He opened the Global ICANN Summit in Rome, where there were about 3,000 children from about 40 countries. Okay, and within a short time, he was given just a short prep by our founder Kiran, and he was ready. And I was looking at him, I said, oh my God, my legs would be shaking at that time. So I've really seen Napoleon flourish, and that gives me a lot of happiness. So we'll hear more about it. And he says his superpower is to bring smile to other people around him. Yeah. And then we have Henry. Henry is 16-year-old, expert in his own area. So he'll bring the perspective of a teenager, and he's in 10th grade. He's from Macau, and he's student council from Macau. Apart from, well, a lot of time goes into studying, and he goes to school even on Saturday. And he is into fitness, which is really good to, and he'll share a bit more about it. So thank you very much for today. And before we have the conversation, let me just introduce the topic a little bit. And I'll start with a quote from His Holiness Dalai Lama, right? He says, true happiness comes from having it comes from within you. It's the peace and the contentment within you. and from Mahatma Gandhi. He says happiness is when we think, what we say, and what we do are in harmony. So it's really within us. And it's a very relevant topic, especially at this point in time during COVID, when we have a lot of time to reflect that how we have been looking at happiness from, outside, from other things outside us. And it's really within us. So that's why this topic of my happiness, my choice. And everybody looks for it and everybody talks about it. So we will begin. So here is, we will share our views on happiness, and all of you are expert in your own context. Karen, where you are a celebrity, you are a mother, yeah, and you are very active in the causes as well. I say that celebrity because you're exposed, your life and your work is exposed, right? To positive comments, and not always pleasant as well, right?
Yeah.
So you are an expert in that area. Henry, you'll be going into high school next year, and from a teenager, there are lots of things happening at this point in time in your life. I'm not talking about COVID. It's just in life, so much to do. So much is directed by people. And Napoleon, you are in PSLE, and it's not just parents and teachers. There's pressure from society. There's pressure from media. So you're all expert in this topic of how happiness has to be your choice. So let's share first about a moment, and I asked all of you to share one moment of happiness, and then you can talk a little bit about you and that moment, and what does it mean, and why you chose really that topic, right? So let me allow our guest speaker first. I'll share the photograph that you have shared with us.
Okay.
Yeah, and so here
cute.
it is. Yeah. So
that's
let
not
me.
me though.
That's yours, right?
Okay. This is a bizarre. Okay, so when Madhu said, "Can you share a photo that makes you happy?" I was thinking, "Oh no!" And you compare me. I'm 53. I'm like your mother's age, right? And you're like 12. Napoleon's 12. Henry 10th grade is what, 16, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 16.
Yeah. So compare my photos with your photos. I will have a whole lot more photos, and I just couldn't. And I was thinking, oh, should I do the obvious family? Family makes me happy, that kind of thing. But that I think would not be truthful, because it's just it's inherent in me that my family would bring me joy. If you look at flowers, it should bring you some sort of happiness in you, and it just felt a little bit forced. And then I realized that I really love this photo. This is actually taken on a little table stand at the end of my staircase. So every time we climb up the stairs, you'll see this table, and then you climb up the rest of the way back to the house. And I love it because, can you see my thingy, this arrow? No, right?
No. Which,
okay.
let me know. Yeah, I can.
Oh, I see. Oh, it's controlled by you. Okay, so
sorry. Yeah.
This is how in tune I am with the world. So basically, this was set up for Christmas last year. Now, if you see in the center, first of all, and I realized that I love this picture because it's full of memories. And I think that's what makes me happy, my memories and remembering things. So in the center is actually a nativity scene, and it's actually Japanese.
Right.
Because 2 years ago, I went to do a play. I spent 3 weeks in France with a group of people, and we did a tour in Paris and in this little town called Tours, which is Tours, Tours. So we did a tour in Tours. And being, European and French and Catholic and everything, there was this shop that sold all sorts of Catholic things. And because it was coming up to Christmas, they had a whole window full of nativity scenes. And they're nativity scenes from all over the world. And so this is a Japanese one. So you have a Japanese Joseph and a Japanese Mary and a Japanese Jesus. And you can't go in closer, but the Jesus has got that samurai sort of knot as well, like the father does. Yeah, it's so sweet. Look at that. And they had an Indian nativity scene. So Joseph had a turban on. Mary had a sari, and I think Jesus also had a little baby turban. After a while, I found out that basically they send these generic nativity scenes to people in Peru. And these Peruvians, who have never met most of these people in the world, they create nativity scenes based on different cultures and countries.
Right.
So you have one from Africa, and there are all these, black faces, black Jesus, black Joseph, which is very sweet. They have one in Russia, and so then they have all the the Russian the onion-shaped buildings behind and everything. They have a Canadian one. I have photos of this somewhere. They have a Canadian one, and instead of in Jesus was born in a manger, right? So instead of like the cows and the donkeys, they had the moose, the Canadian moose. And it's just really, seriously, every country that you can think of. They have a Chinese one with the slit eye. And instead of animals, they have the pandas.
Right.
And I was just stood there and laughed.
It's
So
like mix of cultures and mix of
yeah,
different
and
cultures.
I didn't feel insulted or anything, especially when you realize the background of it, right? These Peruvians who live in the mountainside, and they make things out of clay and they paint them. And if they have an access to Google, they will Google pictures, and it's how you interpret people, I feel. And I think in these times when everything is so thorny and so frightening right now, the anger, about what people say about each other, to suddenly come across this thing, which was, I felt, completely innocent of anything, just very pure and very, very free from whatever concepts there are. I just thought, yeah, it's funny to me, funny. And anyway, so I bought myself this Japanese one because my family loves going to Japan and all. And I just thought it was very funny. And I bought the Indian one to give to my very dear friend in Malaysia. She's Malayali, and she collects all these strange nativity sets as well. So I sent one to her. So that's one memory. Behind that vase with the face, it's created locally. There's this Singaporean designer called Ross. And her label is called Polka Ross. And so she makes these vases. She makes huge ones, small ones. And I always wanted to own one by her. Of course, because it's Singaporean made. And, we buy a lot of things from overseas. And I think it's time to look, into Singaporean work a little bit more. You'd be amazed at what you can find. And the cactus thing that she's wearing is something that I crocheted. I started crocheting from knitting. Okay, knitting is with 2 needles. Crochet is with a hook. So knitting is what you see on films all the time when the grandmothers are doing that. That's knitting. Crocheting is with the hook at one end. And I started crocheting a few years ago because my younger daughter, wanted to learn. And so we learned it on YouTube. But after 3 hours, she got bored. And I've been crocheting ever since. So I crochet all sorts of stuff. So like this cactus there and the cactus over there as well. And I crochet things to make to people. When I go traveling to Japan, to Malaysia, whatever, I always have crochet hook and yarn, and I crochet flowers and I give them away to strangers. Or I crochet, like at Christmas time, I'll crochet little Christmas trees and I give them to the restaurants that we visit sometimes where I have time to do it. Obviously not in a fast food place, but in the time when I have like maybe 20 minutes at least, I'll crochet something to give to the waitress or to the restaurant or whatever, just to say thank you or happy Christmas or something. There was also a time when I spent quite a bit of time in SGH, in the Singapore General Hospital, because my father was in hospital. And there was once I was crocheting all these chokers that you can wear around your hair and everything. And I was just giving up to patients, I thought. And I gave one to this lady who was there with her husband in the Starbucks, and she was completely bald. And she had a trip, she was walking around, and she had scars all over her and everything. And she must have been in some sort of horrible accident and some really terrible operations and everything. And she said that it was the first day that she was out of the room and her husband had taken her to Starbucks for a treat. And she was young, the husband was handsome, and she looked like I have to admit, she looked like she could have been pretty. It's just that her face was so bruised and everything. And she asked me, and she said, "Do I look terrible? Because everyone is staring at me."
Hmm.
And I didn't know what to say. And then I said, "I think they're looking at you because they are amazed that you're just walking around so happily and freely."
Right.
And that was, and then I gave her a little choker. And she says, "Oh, when my hair grows back, I'll be able to wear it and everything." And I was just thinking, I thought I was doing this so I could spread happiness to someone. And it made me happy to make it. And it made me happy to give it to someone. But what she gave to me and made me think about what I do and what I do for others was actually beyond happiness. It's actually something very hard to describe. When you give something to someone and that someone receives it and is able to give something back to you that is not the usual, "Oh, you're so great, oh, you're so nice," it's beyond all that. I think that's really very special.
Yeah.
So I've kept on with my crocheting ever since. And also recently with this COVID thing, I started to hand sew masks to give to a charity, and they give it out to old folks' homes and to vulnerable people and that kind of stuff. And people have machines, right? And they churn out like 300 a day.
Right.
I'm going by.
But yeah, this is beautiful. I mean,
Well, it is,
giving,
but
yeah,
the
buying
irony
something
though,
and giving is so easy, right? You
yeah,
made
it
it
is,
with your
yeah.
own
But see, the
hand.
irony is I do have a sewing machine, but I gave it away to my
Yeah, it's
friend who
beautiful.
was starting a dressmaking thing. So I gave it to her. I didn't tell my husband. And so when this thing came out, I said, "Okay, look, you've got my machine. So you will have to make 300 masks. I'll just do 30 when I can." So anyway, less talking. So,
Yeah.
and the other memories as well are, of course, obviously the little Japanesey type of Christmas things. These are from Japan, which are, and which we love going to Japan. And do you know that Tokyo Disneyland is closed for the rest of the year, so you can't go to
Right. Okay.
Disneyland.
Yeah.
And behind are the blue vases, which are old. I don't know where they're from. I bought them from a man, and it's like a vintage kind of shop. But it also made me realize that the thing about buying old things that are in good condition and all that is that they belong to other people. That belong to other people. That belong to other people. And you never know really, really, literally what you're holding in your hand. It could be something that somebody loved a lot. It could be something that somebody didn't really care very much about. It could have brought bad memories to somebody else. But yet, when you love something, it makes you happy. And I think that's why people say, don't buy art because it's expensive. Don't buy something because somebody else has it. But buy something or make something or read something because you want to, because you can gain something from it. And I think
Yeah.
that's important nowadays because it's easy to just buy the Switch game, or want to have the newest phone, and to want to have like the nice clothes and to have new shoes all the time. But honestly, if that same pair of shoes that hopefully have no holes and all that, if that same pair of shoes keeps you happy, I don't see why somebody else has to pressure you to buy another pair of shoes.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor as well, or rich is also kind of like subjective, right? Or whether you can afford it or not. It's so subjective because does it matter? I mean, we all know about like
Yeah.
old people who have a lot of money, but they never want to buy something new, right? They'll say, "Still good, what?
Yeah.
Because
Good.
Yeah.
Still
because
can eat. Don't throw."
some
And this is,
sometimes
I mean, this is
certain
the
items
collection. This
have,
is this is your richness, right? Richness of the
yeah.
memories and everything. This makes you rich, and this brings your happiness in
I
so
think
many
so.
ways.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah. So
Sorry,
yeah, thank
Napoleon.
you, Karen. Yeah, this is beautiful. I mean, giving things and buying and giving is so easy. It may come with some thought, but making and giving brings a lot of that. It brings a lot of joy to you.
Yeah, it does. It
And
does.
yeah, and so thank you for sharing
No,
that.
thank you, thank you. I'm glad I got this up. Yay.
Yeah. So moving on to Henry now. Do you want to share about this photograph?
Yeah,
So
So
happy Henry.
cute.
so for others, it's just a normal photo, but for me, it's about my brothers, my bros, because I mean, as Karen mentioned, happiness is not about how much or it's not about what is it, but it's about how much you can gain happiness with by the by the stuff. And for me, I gain a lot of happiness by this photo because it's taken from last year when I was grade 9, and we are going to graduate to grade 10. So, well, we missed each other because we are not sure that if we can still, because teenagers are very busy, especially in grade 10. So we will have lots of homework, tests, exams. So we are worried about if we can still play with each other or still hang out with each other when we are not sure about if we can still hang out with each other in grade 10. So we are very miss each other. So we take we taken these photos. So and because they are my very very best friend, because whenever I get sad, because I always feel so lonely last year because I was stressed, I was busy. So and they always encourage me. And the reason why I began to give in touch into fitness is because they influenced me, because they did something about fitness. They did workout, and they influenced me and turned me into a bodybuilder fans.
Yeah,
Yeah, they changed
Right.
me a lot.
I can see the
Yeah.
Fitbit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
yes.
yeah, and they encouraged me a lot. So I'm appreciate that I met the two boys. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. And yes, connection is another aspect of happiness, and
Mm,
especially at this age. I mean, they're your support. They bring
yeah.
happiness to you. Yeah. So thank you so much, Henry. So
No, but
here is
Henry, I want to say, Henry, don't worry about not keeping in touch. I think the three of you would have had a kind of connection, not connection, beyond connection. You call them your bros, and you know how they are brothers. They will never forget you. They will never neglect you, and neither will you neglect them. And that's the wonder. That's the great thing about the generation that you live in now. You have so many connecting devices that
Yeah, you're right.
which is fantastic. You can study, but they're there on the screen studying as well. You don't have to talk, but you're there. And I think that's wonderful. So don't worry too much. I think
mm,
I think they've got you. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And from experience, we meet our friends from school after 20 years, 30 years. The connection is the same. So
Yeah.
yeah. So moving on to Napoleon.
Oh, look at
uh,
you.
Napoleon, tell us about this.
This was me when I was really, really young. I was around like 4 or 5. Um, I was we were in my family and I were in a hotel, and then I was sleeping. We went for a road trip to that hotel, so I was sleeping most of the trip because I am very young. I don't have much energy, so I slept the whole way around. And then when I came here and I woke up, then I saw, eh, it looks very nice. It was a very nice hotel. And then, yeah, this was the face that I made. So this was the face that I made because I think it's amazing how okay. So usually, like, my daily routine is like I wake up, I look at my phone. I don't really look at my surroundings. But then once you put that phone down and you really focus and look at all of your surroundings, for some reason you can really start to feel the meaning of, oh, this looks really good, like this. Like, let's say you look at a a photo of some tree. That photo may not look like it has a lot of meaning, but to someone else it could mean like, oh, this looks like a tree. Like, let's say when you're young, you're like a tree, a seed. Every time, um, it's like you will grow as you get older. You'll get more friends. You will start to really learn how you certain values like maybe perseverance and sooner you will find happiness in your surroundings like how I was happy in this photo. Um,
Where were you? Do you remember?
I think I was in like no, all I remember is I was in a hotel in I think I can't remember. I think it's Philippines. I was
Mm.
in a hotel and then it was very expensive. So probably it was very expensive too. But I'm not sure about that. So that photo really reminds me, or sometimes I should really see, or I am lucky to have uh, these kind of friends or this kind of family who takes care and really knows how to take care of me.
Mm, mm.
Wonderful.
Nice.
So
Very nice.
profound, right?
Yeah,
Amazing. Yeah, amazing. Yeah.
that's great.
That's great.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much. I
Oh yeah,
was
thank you, thank you. Wow.
mesmerized by your replies, really. And well, I would now let the Napoleon and Henry ask one question. So, Napoleon, do you want to go first? And um,
Um, sure. Karen,
Mm.
who in your life always has that kind of ability to put a smile on your face? Like when you look at that person or that person talks to you, like you always smile or you think of something.
Oh gosh. Ah, very hard. Can I have a clue? Um. Okay, if I have to pick one very quickly, this is not, don't, I hope, oh dear, this is not judgmental. Okay, I cannot pick my family, okay, because it's like, family is
Yeah,
like very terrible, right?
don't.
And never pick your family, never. So I would say my friend Denise Tan. She's a radio DJ on Gold 90.5. She's got this big curly hair. And what I love about her is that I know, because we're such old friends, I know that she has a lot of her own sadness and she has a lot of her own worries and so forth. But she has this ability to give people joy. Uh, and again, here's your English lesson, right? I mean, we're talking about happiness. Excuse me. But happiness is also other words, right? So there's
Yeah.
joy, there is pleasure, there is actually peace. There is also contentment. It all is connected to happiness. So sometimes something makes you feel, or somebody makes you feel a certain way. You sort of go, yeah, but do I feel happy? And you start to get obsessed about the word happy, when actually it's something else that you can be feeling. And I think Denise makes me feel very joyful. She always has this bright smile and she talks a lot of rubbish, but she also talks a lot of sense. And I can always tell her like stupid things like, I feel fat today. And she'll say, no, it's okay. I know how you feel. I exercised today and I tore my pants. And she'll send me a photo of the torn pants. And, she will jump on anything to say yes, to help somebody. And because of the work that she does on radio, I also know all the more how her ability and her desire to want to make people happy spreads through her work. And so I know that there are times when she's had a very bad cold and she's lost her voice, and I know she's really tired. She can't sleep because of the blocked nose and all that. And then she's on the radio, from the next day, right, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And they start just before 10, and then they stay on after 2 because they do other work. And she's just talking, hi, and okay, today for the competition today, she takes in these calls, and sometimes people make her laugh, and she makes them laugh, and she shares these songs with people. And you sort of say, yeah, but that's her job. It's true. But, there are some DJs you like more than others, and for a certain reason. And so I think she's really very popular because of her personality. And I think the word bubbly was probably created for her. And she is one person that really always, not just me, she makes a lot of people smile all the time. Yeah, so you should try listening to her station, 90.4. Oh, you got school, you cannot. Okay. Cannot, not allowed.
Yeah, we'll tell her to have a special school program. So if
Yeah,
she's
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
bubbly, she'll have,
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'll talk to her.
Yeah, yeah. So Napoleon could be on the show talking to her.
I'll let her know.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So Henry, would you like to ask a question? I mean, it could be good to anybody, even Napoleon and Karen. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and I want to ask Karen is, do you think that people become less easy to become happy nowadays? They are become more and more difficult to have a happy feeling, have a happy emotion, and smile every day. Do you think that it's less easy for them?
Mm. That's a really good question. I'm going to bounce it back to you, though, then, Henry. Do you find it difficult to get up and smile every day?
For me, I think is when you are getting older, I think the it's not easy for you to become happy like you are young because you have, for example, job, you have work, you have like tests, exams, or other stuff. So yeah, for me is especially now, I've got I will get 4 tests next week. So I think is yeah I just can't smile.
That's horrible. Yeah,
Yeah.
4 tests a week. That's really horrible. Oh, gosh.
I think as you get older, like happiness starts to get less and less important. Like um, as you get older, you'll think, oh, doing my work is more important than,
Yeah,
and then
Yeah.
sometimes you even just forget to smile or just be happy.
yeah. Do you both feel old? I mean,
Sometimes,
really, from
yes.
however you understand the word to be, do you feel old? What do you what
Mm,
what do you think being old feels like then?
I think being old means like um you tend
I think
to remember like your the memories you had when you were young. Like you want to like you want to go back to the time where you were a young person because you feel that sensation of happiness. Like you feel, oh, I'm so glad that I have done this today.
Mm,
Because as you get older, also you have more work to do. Because
yeah,
I have PSLE coming up, I have to study more, I have to do more tests, I have to revise more.
yeah.
So more time is put away for studying, and less time is put away for like relaxing or getting to really relax and reflect about yourself.
Mm.
Yeah.
What about you, Henry? Do you
for
feel
me,
old?
I think for me, old means having more responsibility.
Mm,
And when for me, I think that I'm getting older because I'm grabbing a lot more responsibility than before. So yeah, I feel kind of old, but not like being an adult, but I'm having more and more responsibility than before and more stress and more work. And I think that's normal, but yeah, but to be honest, I think that it's not a good thing to get away with happiness. Yeah.
Yeah. So here I would like to bring one point here, and it's really how much happiness we what is really happiness. It's not separate. It's not about I'm studying and this is my time to be happy. So it's really accepting and then saying, okay, this is my value of being a good student, and this is my happiness to do better. And I think that brings another question, which not a very happy one, but I think we need to acknowledge that there are things that rob us of happiness,
mm,
and how do we then bring it back to us? And it's totally acknowledging that exams studies are important, responsibility, but we are we giving the ownership out to other people, media, what people will think about us? And Karen, you have to bring emotions on demand on the stage, right? So what is probably robbing you? Just one thing from each of you. What's really robbing you of your happiness? Uh, yeah, responsibilities, and bringing it back to responsibility is at every age. So yeah, so and different tomorrow if you're a father, more responsibility. So yeah, so yeah, Napoleon, what is one thing that robs you of your happiness?
I think one thing that robs me of my happiness is sometimes you really don't have enough time to really, like, you don't have enough time to think about it, to reflect. I mean, during COVID, circuit breaker, I had time, but now that I'm back to school, uh, uh, my teachers are just sending a buckload of homework. Then I have to do it every
Me
night.
too.
Stay, stay, stay up until like 10 p.m. just trying to do everything. Yeah, and then I still have to revise, have to just keep studying so I don't forget certain things. Yeah, I think that's what robs my time, that of being myself, like that robs my happiness.
Yeah, and things that give you joy, there may be less time to do
Yeah,
those things, right? So how do
yeah.
you bring it back to you?
How I bring it back to me.
How to
Usually,
still bring those happiness into your day?
usually if I feel like I feel very stressed, or I feel like I cannot continue to do it, or else like I cannot continue to do my work, or else maybe I'll get a lot of mistakes. I'm very stressed, very frustrated. I will stop. I will take a break, a little break, and I'll take like 1 hour or 30 minutes just to enjoy what is around me. Like sometimes I can play with my sisters, but sometimes I also cannot because they also have things to do. My sister is applying for universities, and my other sister is studying because she also has exams coming up soon. So sometimes that also robs my happiness, but it's good to always have times where you can really bond with people, like you can really like get closer, like your relationship gets closer. So I think in order to be happy, you must remember to maintain your relationships. Like you don't just think, oh, this person, I'm very close to this person. I I hang out with him a lot, so I will continue to hang out. But then with another person who maybe who gives you joy when he talks, or he gives you joy when you play with him. Maybe he should you should be hanging out with him because he may contribute to certain values that you have. Like let's say you need to work on um your fitness, let's say, because I have a friend who's interested in fitness. So maybe you can hang out with him, and then he will teach you how to um stay fit during this COVID. So yeah,
That brings back. Wow, wonderful. And you are a football player as well. You must be missing the
Yeah,
teamwork,
that's
right?
rough. Yeah,
yeah.
Wonderful.
that's
Yeah.
really tough. Yeah.
Henry, what about you? What's robbing you, or one thing that robs you, and how do you bring it back to you?
One thing that robs me of my happiness, I think, is I join a lot of activities. It's activities because
Oh,
I I think it's a good thing. I mean, from another perspective, I think it's a good thing because the more activity I join, the more I learn. But however, but when we talk about happiness, when you got so much activity, so much competition, so much like work or assessment, and you will be lots of busy, so you won't, it's difficult to smile again. But yeah, I think, yeah, because I don't know how to say, but I think be a student, it's important to join different activities in order to learn more. But when we talk about happiness, it's just difficult to be happiness when you join a lot of activities. So, and the way I deal with it is I will try to finish my, like, let's say, homework as fast as I can, and I will spend like 1 hour to go to gym to do
Mm,
something I like doing workout, because my hobby is doing workout. So I think the
you're
great
mad.
way,
What is your hobby?
yeah, yeah, because I think the the best way to deal with stress and to be happy is do something you love, and
Yeah,
yeah, be someone you like, and yeah, and that's the way
excellent.
I deal with it.
Good, good.
Yeah, okay. And so be with someone or do something that you
Yeah,
like, and probably one thing. Yeah,
yeah.
wonderful. And gym is that place that
And it's
gives you
great
Yeah,
that,
happiness.
you
yeah,
know, it's great that Henry gets to go to the gym. Because right
Yeah,
now we can't go to the gym in Singapore, you see. So we have a lot
right.
of
yeah.
people like going crazy. I mean, we have a, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's great that you have this available to you and you are able to still interact with people and all that. So good for you, Henry.
So
I'm
yeah.
glad.
So my son is on the same boat, and he has made his room the gym. He
Yeah,
bought the bench press. There's no space. There's only bed and the bench press, and but that's his happiness.
yeah,
So he just made it, and he that's
yeah.
Just
2.5 hours he
grab
just
some
spends on it.
dumbbells and
Wake up in the morning, bench
Yeah.
press,
No,
bench press first.
we bought dumbbells from the Decathlon, and so we have dumbbells downstairs as well, and we exercise as a family every evening. With my neighbors looking across the road, they're like, judging.
Yeah. Mm. So Karen, same question to you then, because
Oh,
you, as
what's
I
wrong
said,
with you?
you bring emotions by
Yeah,
demand,
I do,
on the
I do,
stage,
I
and
do.
you've done many of those. So, what robs you? One thing that robs you of happiness, and how do you bring it back to you?
Um, it's very hard, to say right now because I mean, basically, I do suffer from depression, which is like a real catchphrase nowadays, right? It
Yeah,
feels as if now a lot of people suffer depression. And I won't be surprised, boys, that there are times when you've been through periods of feeling really, really low and all that. And the word to use it to describe yourselves is to be depressed. Of course, but there are scientific explanations to say that, depression is over a certain period of time and blah, 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 blah. You can Google all this. But I do believe that at this time, a lot of people are feeling very low, especially those of us who have been at home 5 weeks, 6 weeks. At first, so you start go, oh, it's great, I don't have to do anything and so forth. Then after a while, this no need to do anything becomes really quite oppressive, right? And it's just makes you feel really useless. And I think that's what really robs me because for a time I couldn't go out to see my mom because my mom is 88 years old and she's vulnerable and we couldn't go and see her and everything. Now we can, but I can't go too often and so on and so forth. And so things that you want to do, like maybe like for Napoleon who wants to go around and run around and be friends, you can't because we are still very limited. And then for Henry, you want to be with your friends, but you can't because you have these piles of paper in front of you and everything, and you
yeah,
can't. And that really robs you. And I think for me, it's the inability to go out and work and to rehearse. And that's a grown-up's problem, when you can't go and work. If you're still being paid well while not working, then you feel okay. But I also know of people who are still being paid while not working and who are also not okay because I think what makes us feel happy or joyful or contented is to go out and do something, to work, to physically do something or to type something, I mean, and to be with people. I think that's the difficult thing right now where we can't be with people. You have these, I think a lot of my friends are saying now, who knows when we can hug each other again. And you sort of think of the times where you never thought about it, right? You go like, you bump and you do whatever, and you never thought about it because it was like, it's the most natural thing in the world to shake hands. And now people say, oh, no, we can't shake hands, we have to bump elbows. And you're like, okay, don't bother, right?
Yeah.
You know, and you can't high five, and it's terrible. It's a really weird, and it feels as if you're in a film right now, right? Where you, this favorite American word, right? Apocalypse. The world has ended, and you're the only ones surviving, and this has happened, and it feels that way. You sort of go, wow, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna get on the next few months? You know, never mind next year, you know. And so I was thinking about what Napoleon was saying about how, you know, he has 1 hour spare, half an hour spare, and for Henry, you have maybe more hours to spare, but not that many also because you're also working. And it sounds very, very trite. It sounds very like, yeah lah, very easy to say. But I find that the more I do for other people, the better it makes me feel. So I think that when you are missing your friends, write them a letter. I mean, okay, WhatsApp is great. Emails are great, right? It's very immediate. But whether or not they write back, sometimes you sort of stare at the two blue ticks, right? Did they read my message or not? You know, are they going to reply? But if you write a letter to someone, it really doesn't matter whether they write back or not. I mean, in the olden times when I was your age, that's what Madhu and I used to do. We used to write letters to people. We had pen pals. Literally, you write a pen, and we used to find pen pals in the newspaper, on the magazines, right? From like London or India or China, wherever. You wrote them letters, and then you waited for the letters to come back. You read the letter, and then you read the letter, and then you compare, and then you answer. It's like really question and answer, and back and forth. I would send cards to my friends all around. When I was sewing the masks, I would attach a mask and I'll send it to them. And it really didn't, and the thing was that it made me happy to do it anyway. I didn't need to know that they were going to write back to me. I think that's the thing as well. It's like, I'm a Christian, and in the Bible, Jesus says, you know, if you cast your bread upon the water, after many days, it will come back to you. And people call it karma, some people call it whatever, but casting bread, I mean, bread is food. Bread in many, many cultures is very, very sacred, you know. I think in Armenia or somewhere I read that sometimes, you know, people will find a piece of bread that's dropped onto the floor. They'll pick it up and put it onto a ledge somewhere so that a bird can eat it, somebody poor can find and eat it, whatever, but because it's sacred. So to cast bread upon the water, and, you know, and after many days, so it doesn't even say after 3 days, 4 days, whatever, after many days, it will come back to you in the form of something that you need. Bread, nourishment, something that feeds you. But it has to come from you, I think. Yeah. And that's the difficult part. Because I think sometimes when you are feeling sad and you're feeling very discouraged yourself and you need a hug and no one can give you a hug, then why do you want to give a hug to somebody else, you know? Then the question I will ask you then is, what do you want to remember doing the last thing of your life? If your life had to end, if really like apocalypse, if really COVID becomes this thing, just what do you want to be doing to be remembered doing?
Yeah.
You know, or what deed do you want people to remember you have done for them just before? And that's just not for yourselves, it's also for myself. Because sometimes I get really grumpy, I get really angry, I get so frustrated, I feel all these things, you know, and I just want to hide under my bed and just not get up. I just want to stay in bed. It's really, really tough. And I'm sure you'll feel that sometimes, you know, when you think about, oh, I need to go through this revision, I just want to stay in bed. And I don't blame you. So when those days come, do the simplest, easiest things, really. And I do that too. I get up and I make my bed. I have a helper at home, but I've learned to make my own bed. And it's not that easy because the blanket's actually quite heavy. But make your own bed. Brush your teeth. Have a shower and change. For Henry, because he has to go to school, he has to do it. For Napoleon, now, because you have to go to school, you have to do that. But before, for Madhu and myself, I mean, if we don't do it for days, no one knows. And it's so easy to stay in your pajamas. Who cares? Yeah. Is the thing, right? Who cares? Who's going to know? But at the end of the day, you know how you smell, you know how you look, and if it just makes you feel a little bit better to just do that, then do it. If it means running up and down the stairs for 20 minutes or 15 minutes just to feel better, then do it, because those are the simple things, and then that will help you to help other people as well. I think that's also important. I come from a generation where my parents they grew up during the war. My mother ran away from the Japanese. My father was nearly arrested by the Japanese when he was a young boy and everything. So for my parents' generation, and again for Madhu's generation, an education is the most important thing your parents can give you. It's the most important thing. So if you want to be a doctor, lawyer, whatever, right, they will die, try to let you be that. Because that is their biggest and their last gift to you. The next gift they'll give you is your wedding. Then if you don't want to get married, then okay lah, then never mind. Then you hope that they give you the money for the wedding. So negotiate, my friends. But really, so if you try to see it from that point of view, that yeah, it's a pain in the butt, okay, doing homework, it is really horrible. And I'm talking from having done it myself. I had to do it. But for my parents, for me to have a university education was the most important thing. And even though I said to them, I really want to be an actor at some point, they said, okay, it doesn't matter. Just get your university degree and you can do whatever you want. And so I kept my end of the promise and they kept theirs. And I think at the end of the day, in these modern times, it is about negotiation, and it's really telling your parents, okay, and understanding that this is what your parents want you to have, is your present. It's your privilege, Nowadays the word privilege is thrown around a lot. Like white people are privileged, Chinese people are privileged. Privilege basically is something given to you without you asking for. So where you are in your home right now is a privilege, right? You didn't ask to be born in this particular family, but you were given this. You're with parents and your opportunities and your friends and all that kind of stuff. It's all a privilege. You didn't have to ask for it. You don't have to fight for it. It's yours. So take it and really be grateful. And I'm not saying this not in a judgmental way, but just to say, really, just be grateful that you have this. And then make a list every day. Today I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this and this. And tick it off, and it won't be so bad. And if you set the time there to say, write to somebody or call your grandmother or draw a picture or sleep or, lie down in your underwear, I don't know, whatever it is. If it's part of your list, it's doable and it gets done. And then you suddenly sort of go, oh, actually, I did a lot of work today, but I also did a lot of nonsense.
Yeah. But yeah, it's important point, and maybe in your add some silly things.
Yeah.
As well, and that becomes also things that balance your day. But Karen and Henry and Napoleon, you brought in some really important points, and in happiness, one is being true to yourself, right? If you like fitness, you like your friends, being with your friends is important. You like football, you do that. And for Karen, for you, it's giving things that you make with your own hands has been important to you. And the other point that comes out is the other pillar of happiness is really connection, and how staying connected and keeping up with that. And the third point you just brought about, Karen, is contribution. How giving, just get up, even if you get up, getting ready, give something. You're feeling low, just go give something to your mother, because we can't go in the community. Do something for your mother or somebody, for your sister, and leave a comment. This could be just a simple happiness, and you do. So another question, Henry and Napoleon, you want to ask? I must share. I mean, what robs me of happiness was very simple, actually. A dirty bathroom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes no. The bathroom is like the is like one of the places you visit every day. Like if you say, "Oh, what is the what place do I visit the most? Probably the toilet will be there. But then,
Yeah.
Right.
but then you don't realize. Oh, this one quite dirty. But then sometimes you're like, hey, tomorrow can clean. Tomorrow, then
Yep.
next month, then next year.
Yep.
Then in the end, you didn't do it.
Yep.
Right, right.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So that's
See that,
that
Madhu?
totally robs me of my happiness, and yeah, I can get nightmares. So yeah, yeah. That's there. Um, so yeah, any question? Another question, Henry, do you have for anyone in the panel?
Yeah. Well, actually, my first question has been answered by Karen at the beginning, but I've still got one. Is, well, as a celebrity, except giving something you handmade to others, well, is there any suggestion or something like solution? I mean, some tips for us. So if we want to, I mean, how can we bring happiness to others and ourselves at the same time? I mean, except doing something handmade and give happiness to others, or except doing something I like, is there any suggestion that you can give us to stay happy?
Oh, um, that's a good question actually. Uh, there's another catchphrase going around a lot. As you can see, I'm on Instagram a lot because I'm not on Facebook.
Yeah.
But they always say be good to yourself, right? They always say me time, hashtag me time, and all that. I think actually many ways, Henry, you are on that way as well, and so is actually Napoleon. By just taking care of yourself physically, I think that actually helps. But okay, I don't know. I can't say, but I was just thinking, I'm sorry, I was a bit distracted by my own picture, but I just realized that behind, if you can see actually, just where I'm pointing around this here, okay? This
Yeah.
area here. It's two piles of files, those plastic folders that you can get from Popular.
Oh yeah.
They're all my scripts from 30 years of acting.
Oh, that's a
Okay.
lot of scripts.
Okay, 30 years. So, in fact, not all of them are there. Some of them were so horrible and I didn't like them, I threw them away. They are practically new because I don't write in my scripts or I don't take notes or anything. I only write down things that need to be changed and all that, and then I write my name. But I've kept them. 30 years of work there, But I think it means nothing if you have a personality of a cockroach. That's the way I see it. And so I know this doesn't really answer your question, Henry, but maybe in a roundabout way, maybe it does, I hope. The both of you are now at that point in time where every child has to go through, where you sort of go, oh no, am I going to make it? Am I going to pass this next test? Am I going to pass my prelims? Am I going to go to the class that I want to, or the school that I want to? Am I going to do the course that I want to? What will other people say? Suppose my friends get this and I don't. What will my mother say? It's endless. It's endless what your books are going to dictate for you right now. But I want to say also that if for some reason all your books got burned down and your school got burned down, but nobody died, your school got burned down, no one died in the burning, but all the records you have had in your school achievements have all disappeared. The only thing that you have left is you.
True.
Okay? If there's a true situation where a city has all completely been burned down to the ground and all that kind of thing, what you have studied for, your degree is not going to help you very much because there's nothing you can do with it. But the person that you are is going to be very important. And it does come down, I'm afraid, to what you do for others. Because in a crisis situation, if you're not able to help the person next to you, then you are no use. If you're a doctor, you can, and if you are a doctor, but you choose who you want to help. I will help my neighbor there because we drink things together or whatever. I'll help them, but I won't help that neighbor there because she was rude to me before. Then it's no use. Do you see what I'm saying? If your heart and your mind and your soul are not open to other people, then it doesn't matter what you do. Even if you're a road sweeper, you're the president, you're the prime minister, it doesn't matter. And I think we can say right now that we can see from world leaders who we want to be like and who we do not want to be like. And they are people who rule countries, right? And practically rule the world. They rule the world in what they say and how they are going to influence people and how they influence people to act towards other people. And you can tell for yourselves now, without me having to say who you want to be like. Because these leaders show how they really are in their hearts. And if your heart is not in the right place, and if your heart is not with people, then it means nothing. Not with animals, not with nature, no. It has to be people first. And again, that's why people say, oh, COVID is like, that's why COVID, destroy people so that the world can revive again. It's kind of horrible stuff, right? But if people are the problem, then we have to fix it, right? We can only fix ourselves. So, it is about doing things for other people. It really is about changing ourselves and adjusting ourselves so that we are able to accommodate other people more. It's often unpleasant. It's not going to be the best thing. It's not going to make you feel Yahoo every day, but it will make you a better person, I promise. And I want to promise Napoleon and you also, Henry, that this will end, no? Your exams will end. They will end. Napoleon, you'll be done by October. And for you, Henry, the year will end and you will move on up. And then you sort of look down at the other year 10s and go, you think you got problems. Wait till you are where I am. It will end. That's the great thing, you see.
Yeah. And important, yeah, that's really, sorry.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's just the same. Your studies will end. This portion of life will finish, move on, and then the next portion, the next challenge will come. But in between, you'll have your happy days again. It will come, and then your difficult days will come, and then you go, and it might be a bit longer, yes, because you're older, and it goes by again. So if you see your life, I'm fixing my fingers within the screen. This is when you were born, and this is when you will, pass away, whenever it is, right? And you are only here, I am kind of like here right now.
Not really.
I'm like predicting, right? Scully, I'm like there. Oh, I don't live to 150, thanks. But I mean, you guys are just here at the point of your life, and you have the rest of it here. So if you see it in that kind of point, then you're okay. You'll be more than okay, guys. I promise you'll be so okay. And from whatever y'all have said to me and talked about and asked questions, y'all will be fine. And you all will be in the position to be able to tell other people you're going to be okay too. And I think that's great. I mean, just now listening to both of y'all talk about your struggles, I felt really sad. I felt very moved. And I felt sad because I feel like y'all are my children. My older daughter is already 24. My younger one is 15. And y'all like my children's kind of age. And I sort of feel, it's terrible that, y'all feel this. But I think it's wonderful that you have this channel to speak about it. And that you're able to share it with other young people from around the world as well, and that y'all can talk freely. And because you are able to express yourselves freely, that's a good thing. Encourage others to talk freely too, and it can prevent a lot of pain. It can prevent a lot of hurt. And you sort of think, wow, what's the big deal? It can. It really, really can.
Yeah. And I just want to draw the attention to, one is the pain, and two is the suffering. So every stage life is about a little bit pain at every stage, and we like the pain a little bit. We want challenges. We want some kind of, if life was just smooth and going.
Yeah, if life was just smooth and like there's no challenges on the way, I don't think you will learn much. I don't think you will learn many important skills in your life, because through pain, I think you will learn something. Through pain, like let's say, I am doing this whole stack of homework. I keep doing. Through that pain of doing the homework, you will learn something. You will learn, this word is spelled SPELT spelled. So you will learn things through pain, or that's what I think.
Yeah, good.
And I think
Great.
we will gain some sense of achievement when after we overcome some obstacles.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's your growth, right? That's being
Yeah.
true to yourself. You want the growth. So one is what I was saying is one is that pain, that we want that pain, we want that challenge, we want that test, but not making that pain to be the suffering.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there are
Yeah.
two different things. Do I choose to suffer because of it? Or do I just make it pain and I go through the pain because I know this pain will take me to the next level of my life? And you've already understood that, two of
Yeah.
you, and we, Karen, where were we at this age,
Yeah.
right?
No, I was just moaning about how like oh my hair, my
Yeah, my
want a
my
new
friend and
blouse, so my
what?
mother
Yeah,
won't buy me
just
one.
true. That's the
And
thing.
Henry, it's like your workout. When you try a new workout, you have to go through it. And sometimes let's say you add a weight on, and it's like oh you can't do it, and you just
Yeah.
have to do it every day. Use your core and push it. It's the same thing. And it's like playing games. Every day is like achievement unlock, right? You have to
Yeah,
unlock this and you get a reward. Ding, 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 but it's like working out as well, where you increase 0.5 kg, 0.5 kg. And it's never something that you can't take. I mean, that's one thing that I've learned with Christianity anyway. And I'm not preaching, right? I'm just saying this is what my religion is, which is that God never gives me something that I cannot take. I mean, that's when I learned that I am not alone, and it's not going to kill me. And of course, we're speaking with the experience of knowing that we live well, we have good lives. We don't have a difficult life at home. I mean, there are people who really suffer at home, and then that's a different issue altogether, right? But helping them to find happiness, that's something else that we will have to work towards. People who suffer violence at home, and children who have no parents, and that kind of thing. Those are very different social kind of problems, and they require help, and they require happiness given to them as well. Yes, it will come, and it comes from the right channels, but then with that knowing in mind, then we have to take care of ourselves better, because we are privileged. We
yeah,
have a very, very privileged life,
true. Yeah.
I just want to say, last night, right, I watched 3 films. I can't believe it.
3.
And all about like young people, and but there was one, but only one. 2 of them were Japanese and 1 was American, and it's all about young people. And it's interesting how they're all going through school and how they all try to cope in different ways, where one of them says, oh, I got to be this, but I'd rather be this. I want to be an artist, but whatever. But there was one film that was not the best made. It's a Japanese film, and it's called Strawberry Fields. And, it's a universal rating. You all can watch it. Basically, it's about these 4 girls. And they're in the same class, and they have no friends. They're not friends with each other, and they are alone in this class. So one of them she's the narrator, and she says, "I got no friends." Blah, 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 blah. And then one of them is being sent for a judo competition. So the teacher says, "Okay, I need 3 volunteers to go with her to support her." Nobody wants to go. So this girl, the narrator, volunteers. The class monitor volunteers, and then this last girl is volunteered by mistake, and she's forced to go. And this last girl is the class bully. She hits a group of girls who bullies everybody, and she's horrible, okay? Now, they're on the way to this competition, and they get into an accident, and the 3 girls die. The bully, the judo expert, and the class monitor. So only the narrator is left alive. But the 3 girls come back as ghosts, and this girl can see them. And basically, the figure of death there, which is like so fake, right? He's actually a man in a hood, and you can tell, he's like solid. But basically, he gives each of the dead girls an hourglass, and he says, okay, at a certain time, y'all will come to me 12 hours after the day y'all die, or whatever. So they have different times where he's going to come to take them. And he says, you have time to finish up your business before I take you. Now, you sort of think, oh, they get to solve their lives before they go. They don't. The 3 ghosts and the girl, they are trying very hard to find, to try to resolve their family, their loneliness. They're trying to figure, they don't. Death comes and takes them away. and they don't get to answer their wishes. And that really made me think. And they're only young girls, was I think 17, yeah. And you sort of go, wow, you know, in other films, they'll manage to do that. There'll be reconciliation. They'll somehow be able to appear in front of their mother to say, oh, Kasa, sayonara, you know, whatever, but they don't. And that is the reality of it. You see, that you don't get a chance to fix things. You have to do it now. And it really, really, it was sad and everything. It's sobering, but it doesn't have to be heavy or depressing. It actually should give us hope, you know, to say that, okay, I don't have a chance to fix things, so I'm going to do it properly now. As opposed to, I don't have a chance to fix things, you know, and I don't know what to do, and then it brings you down. Instead, it should give us hope to say that because we will not have another chance to do something, this is when I'm going to do my PSLE damn well. I'm just going to do my next assignment really well because I'm not going to get another chance. This is it.
Yeah, and that's an important point, because what is life about? It's really
Life
living
only
life.
got once. Only got once.
Really only once.
Yeah. And living life, you know, living life is being involved. What's happening and not letting it pass by and be in it. So let me now do a quick exercise with you, and you know, I want you to just close your eyes. Let's all close our eyes for a moment. And when we talk about happiness and true happiness, we are talking about our inner peace. We are talking of contentment. We are talking about being true to ourselves. Now think of an animal that comes to your mind. If happiness was an animal, according to you, what would it be? Which animal would it be? So when you're ready, just open your eyes and maybe we can all share what comes out to our mind. Whoever is ready.
Puppies, some little, young dogs, puppies.
Puppies. Okay, so can you elaborate? I mean, I know it would have come from your subconscious mind, but can you consciously think what relates to that happiness?
Oh, because puppies, all puppies knows is they want to play. Whenever I saw puppies on the street, whenever I see puppies, I think they are very happy because they just follow their master, and they all they want to do is stay with his master and spend time with his master. And I think I think it's the same case of stay with a person that you like to be with, and that's a way to deal with stress. To be happy is to stay with a person that you want to stay. And whenever I saw puppies, and he wants to stay with his master, and I think that he's happy. He's related to happiness.
Yeah, wonderful. And do you have a dog, Henry?
I want to have.
You go see it with your mother.
Yeah. When is your birthday? Just ask for one.
I will try to.
Yeah, and very, very nicely put. And I have a dog. She's been with us for 8 years, and the joy that she brings. And let me share with you very quickly the photograph that I had. It is not of my dog.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
This one. And Henry and Napoleon were in Rome with me, and this is when I was in Rome, and this is a dog on a roadside, in the subway. And I just stopped. He was with a homeless person, and that was amazing that these homeless people will have their pets with them, because I think that brings them joy. And I just stopped to pat, and this dog that just licked me. So it's beautiful, and I have a dog as well. The kind of happiness they bring, and and joy. And that's beautifully put. That's why Henry colleges have these puppy rooms. I don't know if you know.
Yeah,
Uh,
some
yeah,
place, some schools or something, they have like a place where, because I went to this like some school for Japanese in Singapore. What was the name? I always forget things, but
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
this
Australia, DFC Australia did that, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
there was a place for like there was a place for puppies or dogs, and then whenever the students feel stressed or like at some point of the in the day, they would the that batch of students will be brought to that place, and then they can play with the puppies for like
Oh,
around.
sweet. So
Yeah.
sweet.
Yes. And they're in the moment, yeah. Those
Yeah.
animals are in the moment. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, that's lovely. So Henry, which animal came to your mind?
Napoleon, you mean?
Sorry, yeah, Napoleon.
Because Henry's like, I already said.
Sorry.
God, that look like.
Yeah, yeah. Where am I? Yes, Napoleon.
Actually, a cat went in my mind. Like
Mm.
I happiness reminds me of a cat because in my void deck there's always this stray cat, and then I always remember it's always like roaming around trying to find food. And then there was one point of time I was just coming back from school, like because I work from home. I mean I work from school, so I walk home. And I saw there was this person. He actually bought some cat food for a stray cat to
Mm.
eat on. So I think it was a really nice moment, and I can tell that the cat was happy because the cat was
Mm.
jumping around and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That man may have been a community feeder, that's what it's called. There are a group of people
Yeah.
around feeding the stray cats. So the next time you see that cat, see whether the left ear is sort of like cut. They
Yeah,
cut it.
most stray cats have
Yeah.
the tip
So
of the
then,
ear is cut,
so they
so
won't
they
have kittens with abandon, which is great. But
Okay.
not everybody feels like you. A lot of people hate stray cats. Yeah. I
Mm.
have 6 cats at home.
Wow. Where
Yeah,
are
yeah.
they?
I used to have 8, but they're all
so
rescue cats. Yeah. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So what about you, Karen? Which animal
I
came to
am
your
thinking
mind?
of the otters,
Mm.
especially the ones that have surfaced recently in Bishan Park, which is near my house, and they've gone to Kallang River and everything because they really don't care. they, they are wild animals, you know. They really are wild, and they don't care about you. I'm going to swim. I'm going to lie down on the beach. I'm going to bite you. I'm going to bite you. You know what I mean? And they're cute. You know how they peep out of the water and they're silky. And if you go to the zoo, you smell them first. But I don't think they're smelly in the wild. And that's where they belong, lah. You know. And I think actually, I think any animal that's out and about wandering, they are the happiest.
Yeah. It brings a lot of joy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. That
Mm.
abandon, you know.
Yeah. 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 When I close my eyes, a wild horse came to my mind. I don't know
Wow,
why.
horse.
White, not white, brown wild horse just running in the field. That's
sweet,
all.
nice.
So yeah, I don't know the meaning, but yeah, maybe I think more. Maybe it will come to me. Yeah, so that brings us to the end of this conversation. I think it was very profound. And I think here the age does not matter. And each one of you have been expert in your own context. And so a lot of profound and things that say you have said here, I think are very, very useful. So my last question here is if there is one message you want to give, Napoleon, for message for PSLE students like you in PSLE, or being the youngest sibling, whatever you want to say, a message for them. Henry, for you being a teenager, and having that pressure of doing so much. You have to do so much. And maybe Karen, from your end, one message to somebody who doesn't have no work, don't know when it will come back, or maybe as an actress, or in any context, being a mother or being a woman, any message that you have. So let's start with you, Karen.
Okay.
What one message you want to give?
Okay. I think before we end as well properly, I want to say to Henry and Napoleon that your parents should be very proud of you. Yeah, I think if you were my sons, I would be really very proud of you. And I think people will say, "Oh, yeah, it's because of your parents." And yeah, I think your parents have brought you up well. I really, really think so. And I think your teachers have taught you well. You may not always have had good teachers, but you obviously have been brought up in a way to understand things and to know what is important to you and what you want for yourselves. And I want to remind you all again that y'all will be very, very okay. Thank you for everything that y'all said today. It really has been very, very moving, very thought-provoking. I don't have like major sort of advice, it's just to don't be afraid to do the right thing. I think this is generally in life. Don't be afraid to be kind to somebody. Don't be afraid to give up your seat for somebody. Don't be afraid to do something that you know is the right thing to do, I think. Yeah.
Thank you. Henry, what's your one message, and what do you want to say to everyone?
My message is, well, happiness has different meaning to everyone, but I think my message is about when you think that you're lost, when you think that have a long distance with happiness, I think just just be yourself and do something you love. And yeah, as Karen said, is happiness is not about how much, it's just about how much you gain happiness from that thing or activity. It's just, yeah, I think just be yourself. And as Karen said, everything will have an end and you will be happy after you overcome the challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, great one. Yeah, thank you, Henry. Napoleon, what's your one message?
I think one thing that everyone should remember is whenever you feel down or you feel unhappy, you should always remember the one thing that always keeps you happy. Like for me, it's football. I always love to play. I'm more of an outdoorsy person, so I like to play with my friends and things. But during this COVID, I can't. So remember that everyone has a different meaning of happiness, and you should find your own happiness, and you should not base it on someone else.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you very much. And yeah, that is so important. Being, what we've realized, it's happiness is my choice. It is within you. It's not outside. It's not in the football. It's who you are. You like to play. So and finding that happiness. With that, I thank you all, and I think it's been very enriching experience. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Madhu, for doing this. Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks a lot. Okay, bye-bye.
Have a good day, boys.
Yeah.
Okay.